for the use of their music. This is a kind of ignorance, and what I say shows that people do not understand the value of intellectual property. In this day and age.
Okay, so I'm so glad you've actually brought this up, because I was actually working my way towards it. There's been a lot of controversy over the collection of royalties, and as you've already pointed out, most media practitioners are complaining about the underhand tactics, so to speak, that COSON, please let me finish my question, is using to make them pay over and above of what is accepted globally. They feel that some of these royalties are too much for them to pay.
I don't know about underhand tactics, right? I believe that the present reaction is because COSON has gone to court. And we go to court because we believe that is a civil way of dealing with issues when you do not, in a democracy, when you do not have an agreement. And let me say what has happened with the broadcast industry in Nigeria. For many years, many years, the broadcast industry has been ruling the issue of payment of royalties down the streets. I've been involved in this struggle for over 30 years. I've discussed with the broadcasting industry for over 30 years. People simply don't want to do what is right. And then you take them to court and they say you're using underhand tactics. What is underhand tactics about going to court?
Okay, so
the court is a place where you put all your facts before an independent person who looks at the law and looks at the facts and comes to a decision. What exactly is wrong about going to court, and what is underhand about going to court?
As a president of COSON,
yes,
can you tell us how many artists are registered with COSON?
Okay. First of all, let me say that COSON is acting within the law. The laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. COSON is approved by the Nigerian Copyright Commission, which has the powers under the law to approve a collective management organization. COSON has practically all the major top artists in Nigeria as members, thousands of them, right? COSON has the support of the international copyright community. COSON is a member of CISAC, the worldwide collective management system, around. COSON has everything it needs. COSON has bilateral agreements with so many different collective management organizations around the world. But there are people who don't want to recognize that because they want a divide and rule system under which they can operate and pauperize creative people in Nigeria forever. And we say, no, you can't do that.
Now, there's an issue with this collection of royalties.
Yes, please.
That's the reason why I asked you, how many artists are actually registered with COSON that you know of? Because some feel that they're not registered with COSON, but then royalties are collected on their behalf. Now, if these royalties are collected, they don't see any of these monies coming to them. So is there an account where these monies are actually put?
COSON is one of the most regulated organizations in Nigeria, run very, very professionally, very, very transparently. COSON is 100% accountable, and I can say that. And if there is any Nigerian artist of any sort, of any ilk, that says COSON has collected money on his behalf and he has asked for the money and hasn't got it, I want him to please raise up his hand, go public, and I want you to know, because I do know that we are very, very thorough, and the regulatory agency, supervises COSON. What is happening? Let me explain to you what is happening. People never thought that musicians would ever come together and have an articulate professional organization. Surprising, in 2009, 2010, 10 of the biggest organizations in the music industry around the country came together. For once, we are speaking with one loud voice. We are strong, we are articulate, we are organized, we know what we want, we know the law, and with all modesty, I would say that when it comes to the copyright law in Nigeria, I understand it as well as any other Nigerian from anywhere. I teach it, in fact, across the world.
So in your opinion, that this controversy that we're experiencing was seen...
There's no controversy. There's no controversy.
Well, because you see, there are actually artists. Okay, if that is the case, we have artists that all of a sudden we don't see in the limelight anymore. Yeah. Some that the names go as far back as the early 2000s and the late 90s and the early 90s. Yes. Their music is still being played.
Yes.
Copyright and royalties are still being collected on these artists. Where does this money go? Because there's also this debate that some artists who are not even in Lagos, probably based outside of Lagos, have royalties collected on their music, but they don't get these monies. Is there an account where these monies are kept? And if there is an account, who actually administers this account?
Okay, let me explain to you how it works, right? It's very, very easy. 3 years ago, nobody was distributing 1 naira in royalties in Nigeria. COSON is 3 years old. Sometimes people think COSON is 30, 50 years old. It's 3 years old. 3 years ago, nobody was distributing royalties in Nigeria. Nobody was collecting. Music was completely free of charge everywhere. 2 years ago, COSON distributed about 25 point something million, first time ever, done openly. There are journalists there, Last year, COSON distributed about 100 million naira, first time in the history of Nigeria, right? And somebody is complaining. I know of a musician that has collected 3.70 million from COSON and more. Some have collected $1 million naira from COSON. A lot of people called me and said they never thought this was going to happen in their lifetime, that it is possible for this to happen. And if your name is not there and there is money due to you, by regulations, there is an escrow account into which your money is put. And your money is there for at least 7 years.
Who oversees that account?
The Nigerian Copyright Commission oversees that. We report. You know how much our report to the Nigerian Copyright Commission was this year? Over 500 pages of text and over 1,000 pages of materials. Everything we do is accounted for. Well, I'm proud as a Nigerian that we can run an institution that thorough, that articulate, that open, that transparent. We've got to have faith as Nigerians who can indeed do things well if we insist.
Now, Tosin, has there been any case where an artist has actually sought legal redress in terms of having royalties paid to him or her?
At the moment, I'm not even sure that they are aware of what rights they have. The thing is for artists that they need to realize that intellectual property is the major way that they can make money from their work. So what the only issue that I think that COSON is having is that it's sort of like the case of maybe someone collecting rent for people when that person hasn't authorized you to collect rent for them. So if I had a property, I would have to contract with someone and say, go and collect this rent for me. And I think that the key, and I'm a supporter of COSON because I think that at least they've taken the initiative to set up a structure, and the industry needs structure. In the rest of the world, you have collection societies. The only difference is that they need the members to register, and they need to be collecting for their members. So what we should be telling the Nigerian artists is, you better go and register with COSON because they're collecting all money for Nigerian music anyway. We've heard today that they're keeping it in an escrow account. So I think that it would be foolhardy if you're a Nigerian artist and you're not registered with COSON. So one of the things I say to my client when they come, is that, look, there's actually a collection society in Nigeria. So if you want to be a real musician, then I suggest we go and register.
But how many of these artists understand that they need to be working with the legal arm to ensure that they are not shortchanged? Because that's the reason why there seems to be a lot of hue and cry as regards payment of royalties. I'm sorry, Tony, but so Tosin, there seems to be a lot of hue and cry right now as regards payment of these royalties. What is the legal arm? That's where you really come in now, doing to ensure that they are aware of what is happening, because it's no more business as usual.
Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, I do a lot of information dissemination with my clients. I let them know what is going on in the rest of the world, how they can make money from the entertainment industry. You see, the issue is that beneath the deepest dirt is often found the most precious stone. So often where we find amazing talent, it's in areas where the people are not educated. And so that's why in the entertainment industry, they are usually the most cheated. They see people with talent and they give them unfair contracts. They don't understand what they're signing. The contracts are automatically renewing and they think they've only signed for 1 year. So that is why you can't do it all on your own. As an artist, focus on the talent and go to the business people or the legal people to help you focus on the business side of things and protecting your interests.
Now, Tony, just before we go on this quick break for us to catch our breather, how does, you actually mentioned the fact that some, broadcasting organizations have issues with the amount of monies that COSON demands from them for royalties on the music that they play. Now, how does COSON compute this sum and collect from radio, television, and other media practitioners that use material from the entertainment industry?
Now, first of all, let me say that our aim, our objective is not to shut down any broadcast station or make life difficult. Our aim is simply to get what under the law belongs to the creative person, so
is it according to global best practices? Because
Absolutely.
that's what we're trying to imitate, global best practices.
Absolutely. COSON is a member of all the important international organizations on collective management. The rules we use are the same rules everywhere. But what I understand is a Nigerian problem that you see across. People don't want to pay tax. They don't want to pay electricity bill. They don't want to pay anything.
Okay, so then how does COSON actually compute this monies that you levy the broadcasting houses for?
What we've done is use absolutely the same system that NBC uses to deal with broadcast stations. And there's so many ways in which you can come about this. In some parts of the world, you take, for instance, a percentage of their budget, or you take a percentage of their income from advertising. What we do in Nigeria is take the principle that the National Broadcast Commission, NBC, uses to license stations. So it's a factor of where you're located. It's a factor of what kind of broadcasting you do. If you're an FM station, for instance, 90% of the time you're playing music. So your rate is a little higher if you're an AM station. If you're a TV station, if you're a music TV station, that's different. A station like Channels, for instance, is a news station. We'll do a little more, a lot more news than music and all that. And this is all graduated, and it is approved by the Nigerian Copyright Commission, right? And even if, as a station, you do not like, and this is important, what bill has been sent to you, you have a right to ask the Nigerian Copyright Commission to set up an arbitration panel to look at all the issues. So it is not final, because we have a sole collective management organization as it exists in so many other countries, which is, I believe, what Tony was referring to. And when you have this kind of system, you have what the lawyers call agency by necessity, right? You can't collect your money through any other source. So it becomes your agent, but regulated by law to make sure that you're not cheated, that the money is not collected on your behalf and sent to someone else or used for some other purpose.
We're going to be talking about that in just a moment, because some of these royalties, when they're collected, it's supposed to be shared between the artist, the composer of whatever song, the producers, the director, and the likes of it. But does this money actually get to them? Just hold on to that thought. We'll be right back. You're still watching Business Morning on Channels Television, and we're looking at the entertainment industry. I have here with me in the studio the President, Copyright Society of Nigeria, Tony Okoroji, and an entertainment lawyer, Tosin Adefope. We'll be right back.